want to do this with as few edits and cuts as possible because it's been a long time. And I'm not off to a good start, you guys. All right, let's try this again. Welcome to The Knitted Bean. My name is Echo and I will be your host today. The Knitted Bean is a nitty, nerdy, and sometimes sweary podcast with a side order of fandom or movies, books, whatever other media I would like at the end. I'm coming to you from Montana, where I live with my husband and my 2 Boston Terriers, Izzy, affectionately known as Granny, and Legnut. It has been a while again, and I apologize, even though I know that I'm not required to apologize for that. My health has not been great, and I have been struggling a lot, as evidenced by the number of times it took me to get that intro out in the proper order with the right words, and remember to plug in my microphone while I did it. So I am going to go over a bunch of stuff today. I have 1 finished object. I have 1 work in progress. I trimmed it down because there's a bunch of stuff that I have not been working on, and I'm not going to bore you guys going over it again. Like I said, I've not been doing great, which means I have not been doing as much knitting because that's difficult. And so I am going to trim that part down. But I do want to talk a bunch about the InclusionMAL that is still going on. That ends in like 3 or 4 or 5 days, depending on when this gets uploaded to YouTube. You still have time to post a picture on Instagram or in the Ravelry thread, you know, in the chatter thread if you're not done, or in the FO thread if you are done. Hashtag with the FO if you're done, and without if you're not. We'll go over all of that in a minute. Because it's trying to make a nest over there and it's very distracting, and I really do poorly with distractions right now, so I apologize if I am in the middle of talking something and then like forget what I'm talking about. It is episode 30, you guys, and I'm super excited about that. It's the big 3-0. I've been doing this for a little while now, and I feel, I don't know, semi-successful at it in that like it keeps me happy and people enjoy watching it. So I find that to be, as Jonathan from Jonathan's Day says, an arbitrary number, and it makes me happy. So today is not the day that I have written down. Today is July the 26th, and I am aware it has been a little over a month since I podcasted again. I apologize, even though I am fully aware I don't need to apologize for that. But, you know, I would have liked to have been able to get to it sooner. There were several days that I wanted to, and it just wasn't going to happen. My health has not been very good lately, and I will get into that later. If you are looking for me around on the internet, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as The Knitted Bean, or you can email me at knittedbean@gmail.com, or if you are on Discord, you can message me at #BBEAN #0199. I'm super excited I got that all out in one try, you guys. That never happens. So, hello! Welcome back. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for patiently waiting for me to, I would say, get off my ass and podcast, but frankly, it's not like I haven't been trying. But just for being patient with me. I am human, as we all are. And if you're new, welcome. This is going to, I think, probably be a little bit shorter of an episode because I just don't have as much knitting to show. But we're going to do it, and we're going to get it done anyway, because I have some exciting things coming up. I have some exciting things going on, and it's just got to happen. So it is hot. It's been hotter. Right now it is like 75, feels like 85. So, you know, 28 feels hotter outside, and sunny as all get out, as usual. That is cool compared to normal and cool compared to what it has been. We have been in the middle of a heat wave, much like the UK and a whole lot of the rest of the world. And so we definitely had some 40+ days, and that's not abnormal temperatures for us, but it is abnormal this early in the year. Typically we don't get those temperatures until the first week of August, when my birthday is, and we have been having those temperatures for like the last 3 weeks at least. So it came a month early this year. We also just have been having lots of thunderstorms, lots of hail with those thunderstorms. We have hail every year, and I talk about this lots in other podcasts, but we've just been having a lot of thunderstorms that are particularly severe instead of just a lot of thunderstorms with a few severe thunderstorms. So a lot of 60 and 70 mile an hour winds, a lot of hail, a lot of flash flooding, a lot of torrential rain. So currently my backyard is a swamp. I didn't realize that until today. We live in an elevated area. So when we have flooding or flash flooding, I'm not typically too worried about it, but we do have a canal behind our house. It's an irrigation canal, and I think it runs about, I don't know, 20 or some feet deep. And it's very old. It was put in by the water district, and it is not well maintained. Blah, 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 blah. Tax money, blah, blah. They're always locally, politically getting into it over whose job it is to maintain the canal. So what that means is that, like, occasionally the canal will collapse. It is an earthenware canal. It is an earthen canal, and sometimes the water will just bowl over the bank and knock it through because it's been seeping out for long enough that it's collapsed, and they'll have to shut down the canal and repair the canal or things like that, right? And apparently if you are aware that the canal is leaking like onto your property, you can notify the water board, and they'll come and they'll, during the winter when it like fall after they drain it before it freezes, they'll pour cement slab or something over it to keep it from doing that. And when we bought this house, it did have a leak, and the real estate developer had notified the city that there was like a leak there, but the city was like, we're not dealing with this. So as a mea culpa to that, the real estate developer instead paid to put in a drainage system in our backyard that covers our whole backyard and is like a drain field. So when the canal leaks into our backyard, it drains into this drain field that runs down to a pump station that we have that constantly pumps the water out of the backyard to drain the backyard. And we've been here for 8 years, and we've not had any problems with this, because when we first bought the house, we joked around that there was a lake in the backyard. And so we haven't had a lake in the backyard in 8 years, right? This is like a multi-$1,000 drainage system. So we had torrential rain a couple of days ago with lightning and hail and 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then we turned around 2 hours later and we had another storm with the same stuff. And a lot of places in town were damaged, wind damage to roofs and trees and power lines down on the freeway and stuff like that. And everybody keeps asking us, you know, when I go to my appointments, all the doctors and stuff, oh, how did you fare with that storm, etc. And I'm like, fine. I feel like our neighborhood didn't get it that bad. And then my husband goes outside today to do something in the backyard, and he comes back in and he's like, can we hire your family member that's a plumber, because the backyard is flooded? And I was like, what? Apparently in all of that like storm water, it must have like overwhelmed the pump or something. I don't know. Nobody's come out to look at it yet, but the entire pump station is full of water. The pump no longer will turn on or off. And the backyard is a little bit of a swamp now. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay, fine. One more problem on my plate. So thankfully the family member is going to come look at it this afternoon or evening, and hopefully I will be able to get my swamp drained. because that's really annoying to not be able to walk in your backyard without getting 2 inches of water. Thankfully, I don't have a basement because we're that close to the water table, so it's not going to like damage my house, right? Like we have just we're on a concrete slab basically, so it's not going to damage the house, but it's still really annoying. So that's the swamp in my backyard. How have the rest of you been doing? Are you in a place where it is just hot as Satan's balls, or are you somewhere where it's winter and it seems to be going fairly well? I can tell you it's not going fairly well here. I normally would have like a nice hot drink. It's too hot for that. I have a Diet Coke. To be honest, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay in the sweater. I have AC going, but our AC is having a hard time keeping up with the outdoor temperature, which probably means that after 8 years it needs like some version of a checkup, or it has some version of leak or needs repaired. That is not in the cards right now. So that's a problem for another day. But I wanted to show it to you, so it's on for right now. And we'll talk about it in just a minute. So I had a comment on my last video asking essentially like, how do I either alter patterns or choose patterns that are going to fit my body shape. And I answered a little bit, and then I wanted to elaborate on that in this video. So as far as a life update, other than the swamp, I have gotten a flat tire and have been waiting a week and a half for tires to come in because my car has kind of odd shaped tires. I drive a Honda Fit, and I feel like they should have the same tires as every other small car out there, every compact car in America, but they don't. They're like a little bit wider. And so every time I need tires, I swear somebody has to order them. So I went through this long saga of getting roadside assistance, first of all. So I've been struggling a lot with temperature intolerance, and so when I got my flat tire, it was 102 degrees outside. So despite the fact that I do know how to change a tire, there was no way that I could get outside and change a tire without potentially putting myself at serious risk. Because when the temperature goes up, my body temperature goes up, my heart rate goes up, my blood pressure goes up, and I literally can't cool myself down. I don't sweat until I have like at least a fever of 100 now. And so I happened to be with my sister, and I was like, it's fine. I have AAA and I have roadside assistance through my insurance, so I'll just call AAA. Well, AAA could not find me, and they were like, the plan was canceled in December of 2021, which is odd because it's a family member gets us that plan every year for Christmas as a gift. And I know that they did last year, and that has since been sorted out. They did. So I was like, fine, no big deal. We'll just call USAA. USAA is renowned for their wonderful customer service, right? And great prices. And so I call USAA, and they're like, okay, well, you can't, first of all, the number one sign that something was not right. When you pull up the USAA website to find the number to call, it says, due to a worker shortage throughout the US, we recommend that you locate your own services and submit a bill to us for reimbursement. And I was like, I'm not going to get into how I feel about the worker shortage. Anyway, so I call and I get an automated whatever that tells me, we're going to send you a text message so that you can fill out all of your information via text message. Okay, so they send me a text message, and I'm trying to open the text message and click on the link, and it's like talking to me going, you haven't opened it, you haven't opened it. So I finally get it open, I finally get all my info put in, and it tells me, okay, we have assigned a wrecking company or whatever to come out and assist you with a new tire. And I'm like, okay, I don't recognize the name of that company. I mean, we're not in that big of a town. We have over 100,000 people, but not a ton. And I feel like I know most of the names of most of the businesses in town fairly well. And so I was like, I don't recognize that. So my sister Googles it, and it's some company out of New Jersey with a 1-star review rating with, like, you know, 50 reviews, and it's still 1 star. And I'm like, that's gonna be bad. Okay. So why is a company in New Jersey sending me a tow truck? That doesn't make sense to me, but okay. So it says it'll be there in 60 to 90 minutes. We wait 90 minutes. They're not there. So I call the company in New Jersey, and they are really rude to me on the phone, and they're just like, okay, just hang on and we'll check into it. And they just put me on hold. And like after like 18 minutes, the hold just hangs up. They never came back. So then I call USAA, who transfers me to, and I don't remember the name of the company, but it's like, you know, a Loop or something like that. It's a third-party company that USAA contracts with to do its roadside assistance. So then that company says, automated, would you like to open a claim, or would you like to check on your current claim? And I was like, you know, I would like customer service. And it says, the call wait times for customer service are exceedingly high right now. We recommend that you stay with the automated assistant because it will be significantly faster. And I'm like, whatever, okay, check on a claim. And so it takes me and it says, oh, we see that your service should have arrived, you know, X minutes ago. Is it there? No. Oh, let us get you to a customer service agent who picks up immediately. So clearly the wait was not really that long. And the customer service agent's like, you know, how can I help you? And I'm like, okay, so we opened a ticket and we got sent to a company in New Jersey, even though we're in Montana. And that company apparently contracts with people all over the US to send out different tow trucks. And nobody ever showed up. And like they said that they were arriving soon, but the USAA app said that they hadn't left the building. So who's right here? And I tried calling them and they hung up on me after 18 minutes on hold. And instead of like trying to fix the problem, the lady was just like, oh, so would you just like to cancel the service? And I was like, no, I would not. I am still stuck in the middle of nowhere, Montana, on the side of the freeway in 102-degree weather with a flat tire and a thunderstorm on the way. I would not like my service canceled. I'd like my goddamn tire changed. So, and then she's like, well, I don't have any more information than you. I mean, what do you want me to do? Call them? Yes. So she calls them and she comes back and she says, well, I talked to them and they just said that they're just not able to complete the service right now. And we'll just have to start your claim over and assign you to a new person. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, never mind. Just cancel the claim, because at this point, my sister has arranged for a family member to drive an hour out to us, change the tire, and then drive an hour back. We're not going to talk about how much gas money that costs. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll just cancel it. So person drives out. It's now been like 2.5 hours. Person drives out, changes our tire, is wonderful. And we head back and I get a text message from USAA saying, has your service provider arrived yet? And I'm like, no. And it's like, oh no, that's awful. We will check into that. And I was like, why are you asking me if my service provider has arrived? You've canceled the service. So I pull up the app and they have not, she didn't even cancel the service. So I canceled the service. It was awful. So I called USAA a couple days later just to like file a complaint, because we've had USAA for years and we've had new roofs from hail. We've had car damage from hail. We've had car damage from getting backed into and a car wreck where we got T-boned and things. I mean, we've had them for homeowners and car insurance for a decade, and they've always been great. And they have renowned service. And so I was just really like thrown off by how bad it was. And USAA themselves was actually really wonderful, and they were like, okay, yeah, no, we get it. That was really terrible, and we'll take that feedback or whatever and have a $20 gift card. It should not have gone that way. And I'm like, you guys might want to like reassess who you're going through for your third party there. But because of that, then I needed to get a new tire. And the 2 front tires are new-ish, and the 2 back tires were oldish, and this was one of the back tires. So it's like, okay, we'll just do 2 new back tires. And so I ordered them on the Goodyear website because USAA gives you a discount on Goodyear tires. If you have USAA and you didn't know that, you get 25% off of Goodyear tires. Whether you're buying 1 tire or 4, it doesn't matter. And so we get a call a couple days after I buy them on the website, and I choose like where I want them sent to have them put in. We get a call from where I had them sent to saying, we don't have these tires, and we know that the website said that they would be in on this day, but they won't be. We can order them right now, and they may be in by the end of the month. And I'm like, this was like the middle of the month. And I was like, okay, so here's the problem. I have a visitor coming at the end of the month, and we do have some travel planned, and I need to be able to take my scooter, which only fits in my car. It doesn't fit in my husband's Prius. And I'm like, so I need my car to have tires like by the 30th. And they're like, oh, we think we can do it. So I finally got a call today on the, what is it, 26th or 27th, did I say? That my tires are in, and I can go have them put on tomorrow. My friend gets here on Saturday, and I'm just like, in the middle of all this, I have an absolute ton of doctor's appointments because the speech problems that I was talking about last time, I feel like sometimes, like today it seems pretty good. I've only screwed it up a couple times in the intro here. Seems pretty good, but then other times it's very bad. And my attention and my memory is really bad, like scary bad. Like I would not remember to turn off the stove if I hadn't put a note on there that says turn off the stove when you're done using it. Like I can't remember to properly take my meds in the evening, and was starting to struggle to remember to, like, had I just taken it in the morning or did I still need to take it, kind of thing. And just very difficult cognition. And so I have been to neurology, and I have been to occupational therapy, and I am seeing speech therapy, and I am seeing my pulmonologist, and so I like have like 2 or 3 appointments every week for the last month, and it's just so many, and I don't have a good tolerance for being upright and active anyway, because that tends to wipe me out for days. So it's hard to even make sure that I'm getting to those doctor's appointments, and then not sleeping through the doctor's appointment the next day. So it's been a month, you guys. Like I said, I'm having problems with temperature, and it's hot. So I've been diagnosed with like an autonomic dysfunction problem, and I don't have MS. That's the good news. I had a brain and neck CT. Don't have MS. That's fine. And I don't know. It's just a show. And then on top of that, I remember in the last one, I said that I could not get my my injectable medication. Yeah, I still haven't gotten it. It's been 6 weeks. So I've been back and forth on the phone with the patient specialty program, my doctor's office, the specialty pharmacy, so on and so forth. Like, this goes through Sanofi, and I would call every few days or every week, and I would talk to a new nurse, and the new nurse would give me a different runaround, a different reason why, what they needed, why I wasn't going through, etc. I would call my insurance. I had a 3-way phone call with my insurance and them and me, and they assured my insurance that everything was golden, and that was weeks ago. And then in the end, yesterday, like, finally I got a manager called me. You can't complain. There's no way to complain. If you complain, the only way to complain is to complain to one of the nurses, who then has to file a complaint on your behalf in their words. And I asked several times for that, and obviously none was ever filed, because when a manager finally did get a hold of me, there were no complaints on record. That manager ended up having to call my doctor's office, because she was like, I understand why you're angry and upset, and we have everything all sorted out now. We're gonna send it over to the pharmacy, and I'm gonna have one of my people call you, and then they're gonna put you on hold, and they're gonna call the pharmacy, and they're gonna get it set up. And when the person did that, the person came back and said, well, now the pharmacy says that they actually had all that. What they need is this. And I'm like, okay, so yet another problem. Please notify your manager of this. So she notified her manager or whatever, and her manager called me back and was like, so I actually called and talked to your pulmonologist, and she's like, it's, you know, usually I would get the nurse, but I actually, he actually talked to me, and I was a little surprised. And I'm like, he's been trying to get this done for like 6 weeks, and he has other things to do, like, you know, COVID ICU patients. So, she ended up talking to my doctor, and she was like, I think that we finally have it. So I did get a phone call this morning from them saying that they would overnight it to me, and it will be here tomorrow. And I'm really hoping that when I get that and start taking it again, that I will maybe stop having so many problems. You know, like, my immune system doesn't love me. It does help. It's been a really rough month. I also had a problem where I have been complaining about edema for like the last year or more, and it's just been steadily getting worse and worse. And I feel like it was kind of being treated in the least as like the least urgent thing, or like in the smallest possible way. Like, oh, we'll give you this drug that maybe will help with that, but mostly does these other things for you. And it wasn't obviously working. And when I kept asking, you know, why do I have this edema? And they were like, oh, it's only because you sit. It's just dependent edema. Or then it was just because I was fat. And then it was because my lungs don't work enough. And I went to my pulmonologist, who was like, your lungs not working does not cause edema. Having edema does make your lungs not work, though. You really need to be on something stronger. And he gave me 3 days of something stronger, and I lost a bunch of weight. And I went back to my doctor, and she put me on that regularly, and I continued to lose a bunch of weight. So I ended up losing like over 16 pounds of pure fluid weight, where I had like fluid up in my face and neck and chest and hands, and to the point of which I've lost an inch off of my chest and 4 or 5 inches off of my waist. That was literally just water weight that was making my heart and lungs work harder. So I feel like I can talk, like expel air so much better now, and I don't have to stop so many times in a single sentence to breathe. It is wonderful. I still can't like talk and walk. I can't do any kind of activity and talk at the same time, because I just don't have the lung capacity for that. But man, I can actually hold a conversation now for the first time in over a year, and I'm like, this is amazing. So I mean, it's not all terrible, even though it kind of sounds like it is. Other fun things in my life. I am done with the medical. We're not talking about that anymore right now. Other fun things that are going in my life is my birthday is coming up the first week of August, so I have a friend coming out to visit for that, and we have a bunch of fun things planned, which are probably going to kick my ass, but it's going to be fun, and we're going to do it anyway. I'm gonna take my scooter and make it work. And my husband got me a sewing refresher course. It's like a beginner / refresher course for sewing online to take, because I used to sew, I used to quilt like 20 years ago, and then I also used to sew like my own scrubs when I first got into medical. Scrubs are expensive, you guys, and so it was way cheaper to make your own uniforms. So I used to make my own uniforms and stuff like that, and I feel like, or felt like, I know the basics of sewing, you know, and I was like, but I've never done like a button fly or a zipper fly. I've never done a fly in general even, or any kind of a placard or anything, right? And so it was like, I definitely need to like up my game if I want to make any clothing. I do want to make some clothing. I don't want to be the person who like sews as much as I knit, but there are a few patterns out there that I just really want to make because I feel like they would complement my knitting so well, and because I feel like they are objects where I could buy that piece in a store, in a plus size store, but it's going to be A, so expensive, and B, it is not going to be tailored to fit me, and a lot of plus size store clothing is designed for taller people, and I'm really short. So like specifically the main driver behind this is jumpsuits and overalls. I can get overalls that are wide enough, but they're way too tall. Same thing with jumpsuits. So if that's the case and I am going to be paying $80 or $90 for that in a store, then I would so much rather make it myself and have it be in a fabric that I love and a color that I love that's going to match all my knitwear the way that I want it to make the kind of wardrobe that I want, because the fabric for that, for nice fabric for a project like that, is going to cost me the same amount as it would for me to buy it in the store. The hurdle to this, doing this, is that my arthritis does not let me do things in a way where I could cut out a pattern anymore, or pin it or anything like I can sit down and pin like two pieces of a pattern together, but to like cut out the whole pattern or to trace out the whole pattern, I don't really have the again, I'm not good at being vertical for that long, and I am a huge fall risk, and I have really bad arthritis in my basically every joint but my elbows, we'll just put it that way. And I've had surgery on both wrists and stuff, so anything where I have to like press down and push like that, like a rotary cutter, or operate like this, like scissors, is really hard for me. And so I'm like, I would love to sew these things, and I do think that I can sit at a chair and just sew in short spurts. I don't think I can cut it out. And so my husband was like, well, I'll buy you the course and I will cut out the patterns for you. Like you teach me how to cut out a pattern and I will cut out each pattern for you. And I was like, sold. So he bought me the course and I've been playing around with that, and I did buy some fabric that I'll show you. And I am excited to get started on that. I have an old sheet cut up to make a muslin for the first top that I'm going to make, and I'm excited. I'm not going to turn this into a sewing blog. I don't even really plan on featuring the sewing heavily in here. I think what I will do is, if I make an object, I will show off the finished sewn object, and that'll be it. If I buy cool fabric, I might show the cool fabric in acquisitions, but I'm not going to be like, check out this pattern or this technique or whatever. It's just, my blogs are my podcasts are long enough as is, but that is exciting and fun. So that's my birthday. I get to see my friend. I get to dip my toes back into sewing, and that is more than enough for me. I'm totally thrilled about that. Other than that, anything else crazy going on in my life? I don't think so. Summer's flying by and that's all I got to say. Okay, so let's get into the admin. And let's get me a drink because I'm very dry-mouthed. Okay, so a little bit of admin. We have 2 discount codes. We have one for Knotty Knitting Sacks from Katie, which is Bean15. That will get you 15% off of her project bags or anything else in her Etsy shop. She has naughty and not naughty. I clearly prefer the naughty bags. On her Etsy shop, you should definitely go check her out. I've been having a hankering for a new one. I don't know that I need a new one, but I've been having a hankering for one. Maybe one of these days soon I'll snag one. You'll get to see one here in a bit. And then the other one that we have is Arctic Crafts by Benta, who does amazing yarn like this one that was made for Chevy Row. Best color ever. Someday I'm going to make it into socks or a sweater. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It's precious stash there. That one is Bean Pride 15 and it is only good for a few more days till the end of July, and it is for the InclusionMAL. So if you want to buy something with that, hustle up and use it. Again, that's Bean 15 at Arctic Crafts by Benta. 15% off of anything except for self-striping and custom orders. Speaking of the InclusionMAL, you guys, it's almost done. I'm so excited. I have like every prize ready to go. I have one more yarn that's coming and it's in the mail. I've gotten the shipping notice, but I have everything else. And guys, it's just such cool stuff. I'm so excited to spring it all on you, draw your names and give it away. But I'm recording now and I'm gonna say that it is going to be at least 2 weeks before I record again. So it's probably gonna be at least 2 weeks before I draw like winners. It'll be like at least a week and a half into August before I draw a winner. Or winners, because I have a visitor for a week and then I need to like recoup from that, and it's gonna take me a few days or more. But after that, I will be drawing winners. I did get in the mail 2 more of the prizes that I want to show off. I did not write that down because I'm crazy. One is from Crafty Knitter 7, that's Sue in Canada. Boop. So you've got a little bee, you've got a pin and a bag, and this is gonna get yarn and all the other stuff to go with it like I showed before. And the other is this. So this is a knitting and crocheting, I can't talk, you guys. This is a knit and crochet scarf pattern book by Yarn David. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Who is a knitter, crocheter, pattern designer, etc. from the Netherlands, and has kindly donated a copy of this book to each one of the winners, as well as one for me. So these are gonna go in all of the packages. So you guys, it's gonna be awesome. Just because, I don't know, I just really like being able to send out happy mail and make people smile, and I don't know, it makes me feel good. So So we got that in the mail for the InclusionMAL, and I'm stoked, you guys. This year's gone really well. Like, I could not be happier with the things that you guys are doing. So, okay. I think that is it for admin-y type things. Which brings us to, what am I wearing? That you've been staring at this whole time going, tell me what you're wearing. This is the Paju Pullover by Anniini Juuti. It's got a twisted rib. My thing wants to curl. A twisted rib neckline, a little slip stitch detail on the raglan, the super cool arms, and then it also repeats on the hem. The raglan is a like modified raglan so that you have a good fit. We've got some arm jiggle there, guys. I love it. It's great. It's really hot because it's hot right now, but I do love it. It's the perfect fit for the perfect yarn for the perfect project. It was wonderful. And I test knit this for Anniini, and she was an absolute charm to work with. She did tell us that we could lengthen or shorten or add shaping if we wanted. So I added 1 inch to the arms just because I'm gonna wear this more in fall winter, and because I'm making it out of wool, and I wanted it to come down like to my elbows. The original pattern is like that long, so it's still a decent length. There is also a long sleeve version, which I will try and pop up here, that has like, I think that's called a cinched cuff. And I added 2 inches overall to the length of the body. 1 inch of that was actual added compared to the length in the pattern. And 1 inch of that was extra that I had to knit to make up for the way that this yarn blocks. This yarn blocks wide and short, so it shrinks up and grows width. So based on my swatch and how that had blocked, I knew that unblocked I would get 9 rows in an inch, and then when I blocked it I would suddenly have 10 rows in an inch for vertical gauge. So I made up for that, and then I added 1 inch in length because I wanted to make sure that I could wear it really well with also like regular or low-waisted pants, not just high-waisted pants, because I do have a lot of sweaters that I can just wear with high-waisted pants. The hem on the sleeves and the body is a like a, I guess you would call it a 1-stitch cable. Yeah, it's a 1-stitch cable. A 1-stitch cable in a twisted rib, which was a new technique for me. I've definitely done like 1-stitch cables, and I've definitely done twisted rib, but I hadn't combined the 2 of them. And she did give us a little demo in this knit on how to do cabling without a cable needle. And since this is a rustic yarn, I decided this would be a great time to try it. I've tried it in a superwash silk before. Not the best time to try and learn it. Very slippery. So I tried it in this and it worked like a jam. The first cuff did take me like probably 2 or 3 times as long as it normally would have. But by the time I got to the second cuff, I definitely was faster doing it that way than doing it with my cable needle. And I'm pretty fast with a cable needle. So that was the way to go. And then I did the whole bottom without the cable needle as well. And now I feel like I'm really solid on that technique. So it was great for being able to learn that. I also got to do short row shaping in twisted rib, which I haven't gotten to do before. I've done short row shaping in rib, just not twisted rib. And that's like, those are the most complicated things in the sweater, right? Other than that, it's just a basic raglan. Like, it has a sloped, curved raglan to it, but you just have to follow the instructions. That's easy. And it's all stockinette from there down. So it's just the cuffs, the collar, and the hem that have this interest point to it, which might be a challenge for you depending on, you know, what your skill level is. It's definitely not impossible. I think even, here we go with like one knitter judging what another knitter could do. I think even a adventurous beginner could do this, right? Definitely an advanced beginner. We always say things like that, and then I always think back to like the first time I picked up a knitting needle. Could I have done that? No. I have two friends who are learning to knit, and it's like one can be great at something that the other just can't get, and then the other gets this other thing, and the first one is like, oh, I can't do that. So it's like, knitters judging what other knitters can do always cracks me up, because it's like so individual. Like, even if you're an advanced beginner versus an adventurous beginner, like some people are like, I can steek my very first sweater, and other people are like, I've been knitting for 10 years and I'm afraid to steek. It's so individual, but it's an awesome pattern. This is going to release on, I don't know the exact date, but the end of July was the goal. So I would be looking for it in the next few days. Buy it, support her. She is amazing, and I very much look forward to seeing what other things come out of her. I know that she has a pair of socks coming up that are, I think they're in test knit right now, but I'm like, buying that when it comes out. So buy it, support her. It's wonderful. I love that it's like simple, right? But has the interest that like, it's very classic. I can wear it with anything. I can wear it with jeans, and it's very dressed down. But on the other hand, if I put this with like, you know, a gray wool skirt, it would be super dressy up, right? And I could go to like a fancy dinner with that. So I like that it's so versatile because it's plain, but it's not so plain that you can't also wear it someplace really fancy, because it's also really fancy just by having those tiny little details. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's how I feel about it. Other things that I did in this. Oh, I suppose you probably care what yarn I used. This was, I should not turn like that. My wool barrow. So this was my, the wool barrow soft donegal tweed in the color rust, and it's the tweeds flecks are like mossy green, a fuchsia, pink purple, and like a ochre. And I just, it's like the perfect fall color, and I love it. This stuff does come with the spinning oil still in it. So do expect that it's going to look like it has this really thick and thin texture, and you're going to think, oh, is that going to like break because it's single ply? It doesn't break. I mean, you can pull it apart if you heave at it, but it doesn't break when you're just knitting at it. And I hold my tension pretty tight, you guys. I like to strangle my yarn, okay? But it doesn't break even if you're strangling your yarn for the most part. You can spit splice it, and I did spit splice it, which I've never done before. So that was kind of interesting, and I have to admit, the whole time I was like, is this really gonna hold? So I'm like yanking on it. Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess it is gonna hold. I still am like, do I trust that? But I yanked on it really hard and it didn't go anywhere, so I think it'll hold. Super affordable. These guys are on Etsy, and it is a local Irish meal. I'm having some pronunciation problems. A local Irish mill. There we go. And again, you should definitely go support Tanya on this, or Tanya. Came super fast to the US, wrapped up lovely, beautiful directions on how to wash and block it because it does come with the spinning oil. You do need to wash it in like a hot water. I know that sounds like death to a non-superwash wool garment, but you're not like, you literally just like let it sink in the hot water and sit there for 15 minutes and the spinning oil will come out of it. Drain the hot water and then fill your tub back up, and wash as usual, and then it will bloom. And I love it. I definitely will probably order more at some time. I will say I did not account for two things in this test knit. One is that I knit slower with sticky yarn, so rustic yarn, and this yarn is really rustic, so it slowed me down quite a bit in a way that I didn't think it would on the stockinette. Like, I expected it to be slow in areas where I was doing the raglan and stuff, but then I kind of thought, like, I'll fly through that body, because on a superwash body, I do fly through it. And I was like, no. I mean, I kind of feel like I'm knitting at the same speed on the body as I did on the yoke. And overall, that probably added, like, 3 days to the make time. And then the other thing was, and that was unavoidable, I had no idea when I signed up for the test knit, and I even took a week off because I had to rip back on the yoke and fix something because I messed something up. But I had no idea when I did that and made that choice to just let it sit for a week so that I could come back at it with fresh eyes, that I would start having problems with memory and speech like that week. And I found it really hard to concentrate on patterns and sewing. And you'll see, like, other than finishing this, I've only worked on one pattern. I haven't picked up my socks or anything, so c'est la vie. I still got it done. I think I got it done like one day after what I was originally supposed to get it done, which wasn't really a problem in that the people who were in the upper sizes like me had the most time to do it. But then the people who were in the upper sizes with the long sleeve had a week longer than us. So I still finished before the whole test knit was done. I just missed my personal deadline by 1 day. So, it's lovely. It's also very warm. I have the AC on, but I'm gonna pause and take it off because, as I said, I can't deal with heat anymore. Okay, tank top acquired. I'm out of Diet Coke, you guys. That's gonna be a problem. Okay, so that's my only finished object. The only work in progress that I have is living in my Naughty Knitting Sacks. If you've been here for any time, if you've been here for any amount of time, you know that that is my Kama Sutra bunnies, and I love them. And in that is living my lapis, which is at a very awkward stage to show you, I might add. Not because of where the needle's at, and everybody's always like, oh no, I left my needle in the middle of the round. I don't care. But because you do a provisional cast on the bottom of this, well, that likes to roll. And then you knit a lace thing up and a little bit of stockinette up, and then you split for the sleeves. And then you're knitting stockinette front, stockinette back, so the front is like trying to roll down. But I do have like some of my front going on here. We'll show you it this way. I have some of my front going on. Right. If only it would just stay for me. And then some of the lace. Let's do it this way. we go. So it'll be like this. It's actually a little bit further down, I think, is where it sits. About like that, and then you do ribbing down from the bottom. And you guys, I am having a lot of fun with this. Thankfully, when I finished the Paju Pullover, this was at a place where I could just sort of pick it up and go. I had a little bit of the lace left, just like the lace where you're changing colors back and forth. That was a challenge for me, I won't lie, at the moment. But now I'm just stockinette on the front, and then I'll do stockinette on the back with the shoulder shaping. And you think you 3 needle bind off the shoulders, and then you pick up a knit rib down. So thankfully this has some pretty easy construction to it, because my brain is not up for this. But I love these colors, you guys. This is the yarn that I got when I went to Amsterdam with some friends. So the turquoisey stuff is Lola Bean in Calming, and this other gray with the like turquoise speckles that like, look at how well that all matches. So good. That is oh my god, from France. Name is Amy. Has a sheep on the tag. Lobby Enemy, and I'm not even gonna try and remember what the color is now because clearly my brain's fried. It's super soft. I am banking that this is gonna stretch a bit because it is superwash. I did also add some extra rounds from the top of the lace to where I split for the sleeves. I think it told me to do, shoot, might have been like 12 rounds that it told me to do, and I did 18 or something like that. I feel like I did half again as many as it told me to do. I'm not sure if that was enough. I had kind of planned originally on doing twice as many, but then I felt like trying to base it off the picture and where I wanted it to land, I felt like, no, that'll probably be okay. And I do intend to knit the ribbing a little bit longer. I don't want to have like a, I don't think at least, that I want to have like a 4-inch ribbing. But I think I'd be really happy with like a 2-inch ribbing. So we'll see how it goes. But that is my Lapis by Yamagara. Love it. I probably would like to make the sister pattern to this that's got mohair, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. My brain is, can be honest guys, my brain cannot handle knitting on more than one thing right now, and that thing needs to be relatively simple. Like I'm thinking of some of the things that I've knit right now, like my Charcy, and there's no way in hell that I could currently manage to keep track of that pattern. So expect some simple knits for a little while until I either figure out what the hell is going wrong, get my drugs, and my drugs start magically clearing up my brain fog, or speech therapy enlightens us somehow. I don't know. I had some inflammation markers and stuff tested the other day, and they're high as always, and I'm struggling, you guys. That's all there is to it. So, and I just rolled that all up and dropped it. Way to go, Echo. Oh, I wanted to talk about the sizing on that. And I didn't even remember to mention the sizing on my, oh my God. So on my Paju Pullover, I made the 55-inch chest, and when I started it, I was a 53-inch bust, and then when I finished it, because I dropped 16 pounds of fluid weight, I was a 52-inch bust. So I now have about 3 inches of ease in there, and I was on gauge. And I think that fits perfectly. I think I could also make it with 0 ease and still enjoy it. I would not particularly want more ease than that though, just because of personal preference. It fits really good though, and it has a great size range. On the lapis, I am knitting the size 4, and I don't remember exactly what the chest measurement on the size 4 is, but it's a lot. Like, I have never made myself a garment with this much ease, you guys. I really hope I like it. The waist is gonna be not quite 0 ease for me. I think it will still be a little bit of negative ease, but the upper, like, shoulder chest part will have, I think, like 16 or more inches of ease. Oh, we gotta hurry, Granny's awake. So quite big, and I currently, like I said, I am now at about a 52-inch chest and a, oh, I have it written down. Let's see, where am I? A 49-inch waist. So I lost out of my chest and waist, but because it was all water weight, my hips, same damn size, you guys. Like, I'm always gonna have big hips. I had big hips when I was skinny too. So I'm excited about that lapis. Last thing, I guess, really to go over. No, not quite last thing. Okay. Oh, hang on. Okay, so some acquisitions. I just have a couple of things, I think. One, which has been a while, but I haven't podcasted, so I haven't even, like, taken it apart yet, except for I did take one thing off, is Sue, when she sent the prize for the knit along or make along, also sent me a bag, which could not possibly be more me. For one, it's yellow, and I have an ongoing joke about how much I love yellow, and my husband is not a big yellow fan, so this is wonderful. And for two, yeah, that's me, 100% me. In a little purple pom-pom. Perfect. It also came with a pin, just like the prize giveaway. I have already put it on my bag. So there is also, as you see here, which I can't wait to try now that I've finally shown it off, cake cover. The words for these just gone out of my brain. And this is gonna be awesome. It's very good colors. So thank you, Sue. I appreciate it. Now I can use the stitch marker and put something in the bag and have all kinds of fun. So I got that, and that was just a very nice little pick-me-up in the middle of all of my problems. The other thing that I got was I ordered off of Etsy some cute little notebooks that are embossed because my occupational therapist wants me to use notebooks to keep track of the things that my brain is not remembering to keep track of for me. And then the last thing that I got was some fabric. So I think you might have seen this on my Instagram. This is some fabric that I got from an Etsy store called Stevie St. Fabrics, and it's just a rayon crepe that I'm gonna make into a shirt. We'll see how much I regret choosing to sew on something slinky like a rayon crepe, but I figured I'm not actually technically a new sewist. Like, I sewed for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, quilting and making uniforms and stuff. So it's not like I've never set a sleeve in before. It's just that it's been a really long time. So I figured I could step my game up one and order a slinky fabric, right? we'll see how it goes. So those are really fun, and then of course I got my book from Yarn, which I'm excited to sit down and read and be able to devote a little bit of brain time to one of these days when my brain is not flying off the handle. And that's it for things that I have received in the mail. Fun and exciting stuff. I am honestly very excited about the stuff that's come in the mail for the knit along, so that's what I got. Other than that, you guys, I don't have any reading recommendations or any kind of media or any kind of fandom or anything like that, because I can't even concentrate long enough to watch my knitting podcasts. Like I struggle to be able to knit at the same time that I watch a podcast. And that's so not me, but needless to say, it's cut down on my media consumption. The only thing I guess that I can say is that I did watch a podcast the other day, which I immediately kind of got a good vibe from and really liked, which was called This Orange Couch. And I apologize already because I can't remember the gal's name. And apparently I didn't write it down. But she is, I would just call her an all-around maker. She's a knitter and a sewist who podcasts from a bright orange couch, as the name implies. And she just has a really like loud personality, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like if you watch We Share Needles, she has a loud personality like We Share Needles, right? So she's very open and outspoken with her views. So if you're going to be somebody who's like, I don't want to listen to a view if I don't agree with it, then it's probably not a podcast for you. But like, I don't have to agree with all her views to watch it. And I don't feel like the views are like shoved down my throat. So I love that. I mean, and it's the same way with We Share Needles. It's very similar to that. So like, you know, she talks about like what she's doing for her PhD, and it's a lot of, she's in an epidemiology program, and I would consider it like a social epidemiology, which is super interesting to me, period. Like that's something that I really dig into. So I was like on that, talking about like different effects of prisons, and I was just like, but also like she's vegan, so she knits with all vegan yarns. So all these yarns that we would consider like summer yarns, and it's really interesting to see what she's doing with them. Right now she's doing a bunch of summer tops with them, and I'm super interested to see as she goes into fall and winter how she does that, because I don't really think of a cotton yarn or a linen yarn as something that I would ever knit with in winter, because it doesn't seem warm to me. So how does she do that? She's also curvy and very unabashedly so, and will straight up say like, I don't know what I weigh, and I don't need to know, and I know that I am shaped like an hourglass, and that's for me. So I love that kind of like, this is who I am, this is me, and this is what I'm about attitude. Just chef's kiss. So I need to go back and watch like her back catalog. I forget what episode she's on. I feel like she has less than 30 though, so I'm sure that I can actually watch the whole back catalog, but brain, I just need to get my brain to allow me to do that. So I think you should go check This Orange Couch out, and that is the media that I have for you. I hope to have fun stuff when I come back in 2 or 3 weeks, because one thing that we're doing for my birthday is that we're going to go dye yarn at Mountain Colors Yarn here in Montana, and that's going to be exciting, and who knows what else I'll get up to, and I'll get my drugs, so hopefully I'll be feeling better and like get on a little bit more of a roll for you guys and for me. Anyway, let me know how you're doing down below. Let me know if you've knit anything really cool that I have missed this summer while my brain has been too checked out to even be able to look at Ravelry, because I haven't been skimming it at all, and I'm sure I've missed things. And in the meantime, get your entries in for the InclusionMAL 2020 on Instagram or Ravelry, and when that is closed at the end of July, I will get my grubby little fingers in there and use a random number generator and draw some of you people's names, and we will have a lot of fun when I come back. I will see you later. Please stay safe, stay cool, Yaddy, 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 yaddy. There are more things than I can list that I need you to do to stay healthy. See you guys. Hello and welcome to The Knitted Bean. My name is, didn't turn in my microphone, didn't put on my microphone. What is the right words? Words, what are words, you guys? Now my white balance is all messed up. There we go. So we can get some of it back. If you're looking for me on social media, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as The Knitted Bean, or you can email me at